If you were hurt at work in Okmulgee County, one of your first questions may be, what is the value of my workers' compensation claim? The answer depends on several factors. Oklahoma workers' compensation claims are not valued like personal injury lawsuits. Instead, the value usually depends on medical treatment, time missed from work, permanent impairment, wage rate, work restrictions, and whether the injury affects your ability to return to your job. Medical treatment is a major part of the claim. Medical treatment is often one of the most valuable parts of a workers' compensation case. If your injury is accepted as work-related, the employer or insurance company generally must provide reasonable and necessary medical care. This may include doctor visits, diagnostic testing, physical therapy, injections, medication, surgery, specialist care, and follow-up treatment. The cost of medical treatment is usually paid to the medical providers rather than directly to the injured worker. However, treatment still matters because it documents the severity of the injury and helps determine whether you have permanent impairment. Your average weekly wage matters. Workers' compensation wage benefits are usually based on your average weekly wage. This means your pre-injury earnings can affect the amount of temporary disability and permanent disability benefits available. Higher wages may increase the benefit rate, but Oklahoma law also places limits on weekly benefit amounts. Because wage calculations can affect the value of the claim, injured workers should make sure all earnings are properly considered. Overtime, bonuses, and other wage information may matter depending on the facts. Time off work can increase the value. If your doctor takes you completely off work because of the injury, you may qualify for temporary total disability benefits. These benefits replace part of your lost wages while you recover. If your doctor releases you to light duty and your employer provides work within your restrictions, temporary disability may be reduced or may not apply. If you return to work but earn less because of restrictions, temporary partial disability may become an issue. Permanent impairment is often key. After treatment ends, your doctor may place you at maximum medical improvement. This means your condition has improved as much as reasonably expected, even if you still have pain, stiffness, weakness, numbness, or limitations. At that point, a doctor may assign a permanent impairment rating. This rating often plays a major role in determining permanent partial disability benefits. Oklahoma law uses different rules for injuries to specific body parts and injuries to the body as a whole. The assigned impairment rating, the body part involved, and the applicable statutory schedule can all affect the final value. Surgery usually affects claim value. Surgery often increases the value of a workers' compensation claim because it usually shows the injury is more serious. Surgery may also result in additional time off work, therapy, permanent impairment, scarring, and long-term restrictions. However, surgery does not automatically guarantee a large settlement. The final value still depends on the medical evidence, recovery, impairment rating, work restrictions, wage rate, and whether the worker can return to the same job. Permanent work restrictions matter. Work restrictions can strongly affect a claim. If you return to your normal job without restrictions, the claim may be worth less than a case where you can no longer perform heavy lifting, standing, bending, climbing, kneeling, reaching, or repetitive work. Restrictions are especially important for workers in physically demanding jobs. If the injury prevents you from returning to your former job, the claim may involve additional issues such as vocational limitations, loss of earning ability, or the need for retraining. The type of injury makes a difference. Different injuries have different values. A back injury may be evaluated differently than a hand injury, knee injury, shoulder injury, neck injury, or hearing loss claim. Some injuries are treated as scheduled member injuries. Others may involve the body as a whole. The diagnosis also matters. A sprain that heals may have a lower value than a torn ligament, herniated disc, fracture, nerve injury, amputation, or injury requiring surgery. Objective medical evidence such as MRI results, X-rays, nerve studies, and surgical reports can be important. Pre-existing conditions can create disputes. Insurance companies often argue that an injury is related to age, arthritis, degeneration, prior accidents, or pre-existing medical problems. A pre-existing condition does not automatically defeat a workers' compensation claim. If the work accident aggravated, accelerated, or worsened the condition, benefits may still be available. Medical records and physician opinions are often critical in these disputes. The stronger the connection between the job duties and the injury, the stronger the claim may be. Settlement value is not the same as pain and suffering. Oklahoma workers' compensation generally does not pay separate damages for pain and suffering like a personal injury lawsuit. Workers' compensation benefits usually focus on medical care, lost wage benefits, permanent impairment, and certain statutory benefits. This is important because many injured workers expect a settlement based on how much pain they experienced. Pain matters because it may support medical treatment, work restrictions, and impairment. However, the claim value is usually calculated under the workers' compensation system rather than general personal injury rules. Do not settle too early. One of the biggest mistakes injured workers make is settling before they understand the full extent of the injury. If you settle too early, you may give up rights to additional benefits, future medical care, or further compensation. Before settling, consider whether you have reached maximum medical improvement, whether you need surgery, whether future treatment is likely, whether you have permanent restrictions, and whether the impairment rating fairly reflects your condition. Evidence that helps claim value. Strong evidence can increase the value of a workers' compensation claim. Helpful evidence may include accident reports, medical records, diagnostic testing, work restrictions, surgical reports, physical therapy records, wage records, witness statements, photographs, and documentation of missed work. Consistent medical histories are also important. Tell your doctors how the injury occurred, what symptoms you have, and how the injury affects your work. Inconsistent explanations may give the insurance company a reason to dispute the claim. The value of a workers' compensation claim depends on many moving parts. Medical treatment, wage benefits, permanent impairment, work restrictions, and settlement terms all matter.